Beyond the headlines. This is World Insight.
Hello and welcome to World Insight. This is our Spring Festival special. I'm Tian Wei. We are celebrating the Year of the Horse. We explore the profound cultural legacy of this ancient friend of humanity, from the noble idealism of Don Quixote's Rocinante to the legendary loyalty of the white dragon horse. From Journey to the West, the horse remains a universal symbol of transformation and spirit. Joining us to gallop through these stories are Julien Godefroy in Lille in France. He is a TV host and cellist who finds natural chemistry between musical resonance and galloping hooves. And in Shanghai, Nora Yang, stand-up comedian and founder of Spicy Comedy. Nora, Julien, happy the Year of the Horse. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year of the Horse.
Well, the Year of the Horse, many of us are extremely excited because horse is such a beautiful symbol in so many different cultures. Nora, how is this year likely for you?
Oh my God, I love the animal of horse. I think that in Chinese culture, horse is like an animal connector. You can think of a lot of words or phrases that contains horse with other animals, like 龙马精神, right? Like 车水马龙. The list just goes on and on. And 龙马精神 is like wish you a like very upspring spirit that you're always hustling. And 车水马龙, right? 车水马龙, it contains like a dragon and a horse. That means like the traffic is nonstop. It's a very busy but very good things about the business.
Yeah.
And then 心猿意马, there's ape and horse. 心猿意马 is like you have feelings for another person. And then there's a butterfly in your stomach, like, oh, 心猿意马. It's a very bubbly feeling. And then 驴唇不对马嘴, I really love this one.
Yeah.
It's like the donkey's lip does not match with the mouth of the horse. That literally means that you're not talking on the same page. Like you're not having the same conversation. You guys just don't click.
Right.
Like I'm just like bubbling with all the phrases with horse.
So obviously a horse is such a familiar symbol for all of us.
When I was in my childhood, horse is actually the first animal that's big, that's wild that I see for the first time. Because when I was a kid, I love animals, and we have cats and like rabbits at home. I always thought in my mind that animals are cute, or like safe. I can just play with them whatever I want to, and then just without any questions. My dad wanted to teach me a lesson. So he was like, okay, you love all the animals, but just be aware, some animals are not as expected. So he took me to the zoo and put me on the back of a horse, not a pony, but a horse, with someone, of course, an instructor, is holding the leash. But he just put me on there. I was like, Dad, that's not an animal. No animal can be bigger than a human being. My dad was like, honey, most of the animals are bigger than human beings. What are you talking about?
Well, that's life lesson 101 for you, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, he's like, so you should be careful because a lot of animals are wild. You need people's help to be closer to them. They're not always cute. They could be very fierce. You just have to be aware of that.
What about for you, Julien? I mean, you are jumping between two cultures, Chinese culture and the French culture, probably beyond. Tell me more about how do you feel about this year, the Year of the Horse?
It seems that it's going to be a very good year for me. I've had, the past few years have been complicated. I've had to reinvent myself and think about what I wanted to do. There's another sentence we briefly mentioned, which was 马到成功, which is in Chinese, it means basically the horse arrives and then the success comes very easily. It was usually on the battlefield, right? On the battlefield, well, once the great horse arrives, of course, it makes everything easier for the warriors, right? The Year of the Horse, for me, it's going to be a special year. And actually, my 本命年, so in Chinese culture, we also have these zodiac signs every 12 years, right? So there was this really wild horse, right? So, and there was a girl, a neighbor of us. We had a big party in the countryside in France. I was 16 years old. And I really wanted to try just to sit on a horse and feel it. And she said, well, I was riding this horse, but it's totally wild. So I understand horses. She was basically my age, but she knew horses so well. And she tried to convince me not to try, but she was, I think, maybe 1 or 2 years younger than I was. And she just could not convince me. So I jumped on his back and the horse just threw me away. And so I injured my hand. I could never play the cello professionally again. But you know what? That's a sad story. You see, that's a sad story. But there's another saying in Chinese that also has something to do with ma. It says 塞翁失马焉知非福. So, which basically is this old man who lost his horse, but then great things happened after that. And it's basically my story, the story of my life. My actually 缘分, my destiny with China began because of a horse, because I just didn't know what to do. I used to practice 8 hours of cello every day. So what did I do? I practiced 8 hours of Chinese every day just for fun.
Wow.
And I learned Chinese for 5 years like that. And I came to China and I made another life.
Wow.
So this is the story of me trying my luck on a horse, and it was bad luck, but which became good luck. So you see?
So Nora, we are coming to your time, right? I mean, after 2008, so many people from all over the world are interacting with China, and as a result of that, stand-up comedy has become such a phenomenon, even in English, which you are performing from time to time. So tell me, how is this opportunity presenting to you, cross-cultural, and what would that mean for this year, the Year of the Horse?
So I am very fortunate to live in this era where people are actually being encouraged to do cross culture. And I'm being extremely lucky because I love to perform in different languages. That's why I'm performing in English, Mandarin, Shanghai dialect, and sometimes a bit of Cantonese and Japanese. I'm really trying my best to become,
so
really
talented.
funny in different languages. And we also see a lot of tourists coming back to China in the last year and this coming year. So I think the year of 2026 is really a year we hope to receive the audience with a high diversified audience group. So we wanted to see a lot of local audience, but also a lot of tourists, and we'll be able to enjoy the comedy in our language or in their language, but on the story of China or on the story of culture crossover differences.
Right.
So yeah, I really look forward to that.
What story works like miracle on your shows?
And my favorite bit is always about my dad, because my dad, as I mentioned, he's a very different types of educator. You can tell from the story that he put me on the back of the horse. And my dad also loved to talk to other people with his broken English, which means that he would be able to communicate, but in a very weird way. For example, I did this exchange program with a girl from US, right? And my dad wanted to compliment her on her look, but turned out he said, "You face good." And then the girl was like,
"What?
Thank you for the compliment." I was like, "Dad, how can you communicate with only 10 words that you know in the world?" But that's how miracle my dad is. And those jokes just never gets old, and people can understand as Chinese perspective and as a foreigner perspective.
Absolutely. And stand-up comedy has become such a phenomenon, different from crosstalk, which you learned, Julian.
Yes, it's very different. That's we were discussing with Nora about this topic. It's a different type of structure also, but it's all based on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people standing on the stage, and it's crosstalk. The traditional crosstalk is most often 2 people, and they each have a role. There's the one that is telling the main story, and usually with a bit of ridicule and with a bit of absurdity, and the other guy who's just reacting, and suddenly, no, wait a second, what did you say? No, and then there's this interaction between the 2. That's the traditional form. Actually, the word in Chinese for stand-up comedy is 脱口秀, which comes from the word talk show, because originally in the American talk shows you had stand-up comedy at the beginning, right?
That's
It's still the case. So it's joke after joke after joke, and you can have, and I like that because you can have no relation from the previous one to the, and I love that because I do that in my hosting also. Because when they write, when we host a show, so you have this performance and then there's the next performance. And the writers, they always try to find the thing that will link the previous to the next, but it's so forced sometimes. And I just love to just cut it to the next one with no not trying to make the link, So I like this form of comedy. And the xiangsheng is interesting because you don't laugh as much because you listen to the story and it builds up, So it's a very different form. For me, it's easier to listen to xiangsheng because it doesn't rely, I was talking to Nora about that, it doesn't rely that much on recent facts and recent people that in China especially, it's so many new stars, new famous people every single month. I'm not going to say years, every single month, every single week there's a new star that nobody's had heard about a month ago. So, and I just don't keep up with those things, And for me, xiangsheng is a little bit more relying on traditional knowledge and culture and history and all those things. So I keep up a little bit better with that, even though xiangsheng is very modernized these days too.
That's right, of course. But I see, Julian, you are not only working on xiangsheng and your Chinese language continuously, but also on your cello. And as a matter of fact, it has so much to do with the subject of today's conversation, the horse.
When we were preparing for this show, I really could not think of any piece of music that I used to play that has anything to do with the horse. But I was thinking, oh, wait a minute. The bow I'm using, every single cello bow or violin bow or viola bow or double bass bow in the world is haired with horse hair. It's horsetail. So in Chinese, it's called ma wei. And actually, a huge percentage of all the bow hair that is used in every country in the world comes from Inner Mongolia and China.
Wow, there we go.
So, yes, because they have some of the best quality horse hairs in the world, and it makes for a beautiful, beautiful sound. We have to put some rosin on it, but yeah, that's so. You see, even when unlike ma touqin, which is a Mongolian instrument in China that has two strings and it has the shape of a horse. And so we play that for fun when we're in China. And also you have on erhu, which is kind of the Chinese violin. You have some pieces that are, they have the saima, so that's around the horse theme. But we don't, in classical music, of course there are pieces themed around animals and around the horse too, but it's very, very rarely a theme.
Zoom in on global affairs with insightful debates and exclusive interviews. This is World Insight.
The word games about horse is, are of tremendous amount. Nora, I'm sure during your stand-up comedies, all throughout the year, you can play with those, sound-alike words.
That part will be mostly in my Mandarin comedy because there are so many words related to horse, and especially now we are approaching the new year. So as we can see that the young people nowadays, they really wanted to get good luck from comedy, from your wish, from your words. So like 马上发财, like getting rich instantly, or 马上脱单, like having your boyfriend or girlfriend instantly, or 马上升职, right, year end, like getting promoted instantly. As a matter of fact, we have to do like we book this like rap packet, like 马上有钱啦, also for our audience, and they love it.
That's for me.
They just want this,
Julian, you were trying to run some of the Spring Festival galas in France over the years.
Yes, we are doing it again this year.
That's wonderful. You should got Nora on your show, and Nora, you should feature Julian sometimes in your stand-up team.
I would love to go to France to perform. I've never been there.
We did. My wife she actually was at the origin of this idea of the miaohui.
The temple
in the north of France. She originally thought of the idea, and so it's going to be the 4th edition. So that's like her baby, right? And she organized previously. There was a talk show, a stand-up comedy, Chinese language stand-up comedy group of people from Paris. They perform in Paris all the time, and she invited them to Lille, which is my hometown where we live, which is the biggest city in the north of France. She invited them all to do a show, and it was a great show. Also, it was packed. So maybe
Cool.
we'll invite you next.
I think it will happen because, like horse also sounds like good things in Chinese, 好事. So people are using that as like a good fortune ways of telling things all the time, like 好事发生, like horse is happening. So I think that a lot of horse will be happening in this new year. And I really hope that be able to perform in France, in Europe with your wife or organized by your wife will be something that's happening this year.
We'll add WeChat after the show.
Ma, the horse, is also a symbol in Chinese culture that's so much related to legends, to historical stories, and also to heroes. Nora, I'm sure you had a taste of that throughout your, growing up process and career as a girl and as a lady. Tell me more about that part of the Chinese culture.
I used to be a big fan of 白龙马, like white dragon horse from Journey to the West.
Yeah.
游记, because the 白龙马 is such a hardworking, never ask for credit, reliable teammate.
Especially comparing to the others.
Yes, compared to the others, it was. But then I realized I talk too much. Like I can never be 白龙马. I can never be the white dragon horse. And then I realized myself, I might be more resonating with the other horse from the West, which is called the children horse. 克洛伊木马 from the Greek myth of the Troy story. Because I feel like I look harmless outside, but my jokes can go really viral. So that's more to my personality. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that analogy and comparison. Not only that, also you hear stories when we were young, coming from Chinese legends and history. They were all heroes on the horses, right? I mean, think about the great warfares, the romance of the Three Kingdoms, and so many of them. So, in a way, the horse and the hero are coming together as one. So, meanwhile, you also have the white horse prince in the Western culture, right? The 白马王子. So, same, it's like one legend figure combined always with the horse. Of course, the horse was at that time one of the main transportation means, but still, such an image is unforgettable. And they put such a layer of myth and beauty to the image of horse. Nora.
I totally agree with you. Now that you mentioned about those anecdotes, it reminds me why we always relate horse to success. Like I feel like this is like a very unconscious way of thinking of horse, right? The horse is never claiming itself to be successful, but because horse always appear with people who are successful. When you're mentioned about 三国 and when you're mentioned about like 白马王子, like the white horse prince, and all of those people are people with wealth, success, with social status, and horse is always with them as their friend or as their like employee in a way, or be there with them. So that's why when we think about horse, it's just like, oh, when we see a horse, something good, something successful, something really amazing is going to happen.
Exactly, yeah. But also in the cultures in Europe, for example, Julian, Don Quixote, always on the horse. It's very interesting how these symbols are being, used in literature, in legends.
Symbolically, I think in stories, I always thought of horses as beauty. For me, for two reasons. First of all, of course, you have the stories of, well, 白马王子, all those stories we see with the beautiful white or dark horse. They're so beautiful, right? But for me also, because we grew up in France where there are many individual houses not far from here. I grew up in the city, but 15 minutes from where I lived, there are individual houses with people who also have horses. I grew up around people who had their own horses or who had maybe a vacation home where they would ride horses. And so for me, I always heard that the horse was emotionally maybe the closest animal to the humans And there was always something very, very beautiful that for me, I could not understand directly because I did not have this type of relationship with a horse. I was not riding horses, but all the people I knew who were riding horses, there was something different because we'll say, oh, the dog is the closest. Yes. But people who had horses said, yes, but it's just different with the horse. It's just the emotion is just, it's very calm. It's very deep.
Yeah.
It's so different. It's so unique. So for me, I always had this image of a very deep connection. I learned the Chinese culture, and I had more of the warrior aspect of the horse, maybe. And especially, you were mentioning Sanguoyan, so the Three Kingdoms, which is an ancient Chinese novel, and I read it the whole thing. So I remember the Chituma, which was so I think originally it was, if I remember correctly, Dong Zhuo gave it to Lü Bu, and then Lü Bu at the end of his life he was he lost the battle to Cao Cao, and Cao Cao killed him and took the.
Oh my God,
took
Julian knows more about Chinese story than I did. I now feel embarrassed.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful story.
So
yeah,
there were those
yeah.
stories in the ancient Chinese novels where they heard that there was that incredible horse. Of course, it was faster than the others. Of course, it was smarter than the others.
The horses are.
But it was a battle horse.
Stories, yes, indeed. And think about Zhao Yun, right, riding the horses, trying to save the son of his best friend and master at the same time. And think about Guan Yu, who is, right there, right there, riding on a horse against the hundreds of thousands, as described by the Romance of the Three Kingdoms stories, enemies. So that kind of heroic spirit really make your blood run in a way. This is part of the romance that we all have with horses in our legends. But Julian, having said that though, you are in France. Now in your national parade, you even have horses.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, National Day Parade, right? And sometimes they make funny sounds and funny actions, and then that becomes national and international stories.
It was always part of, so there's of course the elegant part of the spectacles of sometimes the army, sometimes for the National Day also. But you still have that in some cities, and I can even think of one city in China, in Dalian, where you also have the police people on horses, especially. It's very well known for the actually beautiful police women on the horses,
That's right.
So sometimes you have a tradition like this.
Not only that, you also see it so much in the arts. For example, Xu Beihong's horses. He is well known in China, modern China, for drawing horses. So many different moods, sentiments being reflected just by the image of horse itself. Nora.
It's really beautiful. Like when we learn about horse itself, I think that in Chinese culture, we're always trying to personalize animals. When we are learning about the spirit of the horse, not only is it very fierce in fighting, but also it's very persistent, because they have to run like thousands of miles just to get to the goal, just to help to deliver a very important message. Like the persistency of horse is something that we learn all the time. But we also learn about the freedom of a horse. We have a saying called 像个撒欢的马一样在跑, like a horse that's running joyfully and happily. That's when we realize that horse can be very free, and it just go around on the grass, on the meadow, around the world, just to find itself. And I also have image in some of the movies that when we portray the tears of the horse, like those close-up of scenes, is very touching. And then we know that like horse or like all the animals, they also have emotions. Like they are with us on this planet together. I think that horse is a very 灵性, like a very spiritual animal. Like a lot of the things about the horse, we can relate as human beings. And it also appears like a lot of like the funny episodes about movies also happen. For example, there's one from this movie, I forgot the name of the movie, but it's a little pony trying to get up and then the actress says like 萌萌站起来, and then that that episode also goes viral on the short video platform. I think that there must be a reason behind why the very character of horse is getting so much attention from us and is resonating with us so much.
Absolutely. The animal of horse is so much resonating with all of us cross-culturally. And this year is a beautiful celebration of that, and also of many of the moments we remember dearly in our life related to the people that we love dearly as well. So I want to thank you so much, both of you, for sharing with us both these beautiful and funny stories of your life related to horses, and wish all of you and your loved ones happy the year of the horse. 恭喜发财，新年快乐。
Thank you.
And that is all the time we have for today. I'm Tian Wei. On behalf of my whole team, thanks for being with us. Happy the year of the horse.